Hi, welcome to Barb's Kitchen Center. My name is Celeste and this is my test kitchen. Today we're going to make a traditional dark Christmas cake. So as you can see, it takes a whole ton of ingredients and we will post all of those ingredients on the website just for you in the comments section of this video. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by greasing our pans. I like to use these disposable pans because Christmas cake can sometimes be dicey to get out of pans. So if you use the disposable paper kind, you can keep them in their pans forever, you can give them away to friends, and you don't have to deal with all of the mess. Because Christmas cakes can be kind of sticky, especially if you soak them in rum, which is traditional. So this way you can do all the soaking and not have to deal with all the mess. All right, so if you happen to forget to grease your paper pans, that is fine too, because they will just tear off, and I am pretty sure nobody's ever died from eating paper, so I know somebody will tell me that that is not true, but for today, this will be the truth. All right. There we go. I will set these aside and out of my way for now and put my lid away. There we go. All right, let's get started making Christmas cake. First thing we're going to do is what's called dredging our fruit. And we do this because if we cover our fruit in a little bit of flour, it acts, like I said before, as a life jacket for your fruit when you get it into a mixture so it doesn't all sink to the bottom. So we're going to start with 3 cups of seedless sultanas. I didn't quite have enough, so I threw some cranberries on top. And then it is 3 cups of other seedless raisins, whatever makes you happy. So you could use Thompson's. You could even switch it out for currants if you wanted to. Then we have chopped cherries, ½ a cup. We have candied pineapple, another ½ a cup. Come on, here we go. Everybody into the pool. And then we have the citron peel. And might as well get it all out of there. And I've used citron peel. You can use orange peel or lemon peel or both. If you use both, use a ¼ cup of each as opposed to a ½ a cup of the citron that I just used. So next we have any kind of nut. This is a combination of walnuts and Brazil nuts. And that takes care of all of our fruit and all of our nuts. So I will get a spoon. Good thing we didn't have spoons like this when my mother was alive and I was little. I don't think this one would have broke. So about a ½ a cup of flour just to give everything a little bit of a coating. Some recipes will call for you to pre-sift your flour. It's less important than it used to be because most of our flour is, especially if you're using white flour, doesn't have a lot of moisture in it, so it's not going to clump. But you do want to make sure that you get it well incorporated. There. Everything is nice and covered. And now I can set this aside. All right, so I'm going to cream 1 pound of butter, and I do believe this is 1 cup of brown sugar. So we'll turn on my machine. So even though, there we go, even though it is soft, I like to put it in small chunks because it is easier on your whips if you use small chunks instead of sticking in one great big block of butter. just wouldn't be baking unless you get your hands all dirty. So, there we go. Awesome, and now the brown sugar. Just let that cream and consolidate. So while that is doing its thing, we'll go back to our fruit and nuts, and we will add the remaining dry ingredients. So I need another cup of flour. My knife. There we go. And then I will use my handy dandy teaspoon, and it's a teaspoon of allspice. Okay, come on. Or we'll do it this way. So a teaspoon of allspice, a teaspoon of mace, lots of cinnamon, and just for Tony, some fresh nutmeg. I like to use fresh nutmeg because when you use the dry powdered stuff, especially with nutmeg, it tends to lose its flavor fairly fast. So, and it takes no time at all to grind up some nutmeg. All right. That looks good. All right, so last but not least, we need a little bit of salt. Salt always enhances flavor. And I also need a little bit of baking soda. So again, a little bit is about half a teaspoon, just to give it a little bit of rise. All right. And butter looks fairly well incorporated, but I'm just going to scrape down the sides. And the column in the middle. And I will add the very last gooey ingredient to this before I start adding in the fruit, which is our molasses. And because molasses are so sticky and gooey, I honestly am just going to eyeball it so I don't have to clean out a measure later. All right. Now we have that nicely mixed up. I'll switch to the dough hooks, because if I try to beat in all of the fruit with these poor little wire whips, I will destroy the wire whips and I will not get my fruit mixed up. There we go. Oh, yes, and the one thing I always forget to do, preheating my oven. So your oven should be preheated to 300 degrees. And there we go. So put back in the dough hooks, give it a little spin, and now I just very slowly add all of my dry ingredients. right, well, I'm just gonna give it one more spin. I'll get a little more even around the bowl to make sure that I get all the flour incorporated nicely, because you don't really want to eat raw flour. Right. And there we go. That's all there is to it. I thought the molasses were the last ingredient, but I was wrong. Always good to read your recipe before you move on to the next step. We need to add 6 eggs, so I will continue to add the eggs to the butter, sugar, and molasses one at a time. Just decided I should probably crack them into a separate vessel just in case I get a bad egg. Or I wind up with a piece of egg shell in there, which is never good. Christmas cake should have some chew, but it shouldn't be a shell. And in goes our last egg. To it. So I will take out my dough hooks and I will start filling my greased pans. I put my, of course I did, there we go. So the nice thing about fruitcake is because of the nuts and the fruit, it has a lot of protein in it. So if you are a hiker or a camper, this is a great thing to take with you. It lasts forever, or next to it. And if you need a little energy boost while you're hiking or camping, a little piece of fruitcake will give you give you a lot of protein and just a little bit of a sugar bump without sending you into a sugar high. So, and the nice thing about making fruitcake now, I remember when I was little and my mom used to make fruitcake, she'd have to wait till a day when my dad was going to be home on the weekend to make it, because all of the fruit and nuts are really heavy. And if you're mixing it by hand and you don't have a mixer, it can be a monumental task. Mind you, I think she made fruitcake for everybody in our small community, so it was big, big batches of fruitcake that got made. There we go. So, and again, this is traditional dark fruitcake, so it has lots and lots of nuts in it, dark ingredients like brown sugar and molasses. If those are things that don't appeal to you, the other cake that is often substituted for this one, and you can find it in a number of old recipe books, is called matrimonial cake. And it tends to have more fruit in it and less nuts, which is more appealing to some people. And if you're ever making a wedding cake, it is the traditional wedding cake. And if you are a fan of steamed pudding at Christmas, but you don't have time or don't want to make steamed pudding, if you take a fruitcake and you steam it in a double boiler and you make a nice rum sauce, you can switch out your Christmas pudding for fruitcake, and everybody will think they're eating Christmas pudding because they are very, very similar. All right, there we go. We have 4 fruitcakes that are oven ready. Now, my recipe says to put them in for 2 hours, but because my recipe is a very old recipe, that was originally probably baked in a wood stove, I am going to check it after an hour, and then I'll check it again 30 minutes after that, which is probably more than enough time for me to get a really nice Christmas cake. With convection ovens and more consistent heat, these older recipes don't need to bake as long. And I will put them on a sheet pan so they're easier to get in and out of the oven. There we go. All right, everybody into the pool. And that's a basic fruitcake. Last night we stuck our fruitcakes in the oven at 300 degrees for about an hour and 45 minutes because my oven seemed to be running a little hot. And today, here they are. We didn't, of course, leave them in the oven all night, but it was too late to record some more videos, so we thought we'd do it this morning. So now I can leave them either in these paper loaf pans, or I can take them out. So whatever makes you happy. If you want to soak them in rum, I would take them out. I would soak my linen in rum and then wrap them up and store them in a airtight container. So, well, hope you have a Merry Christmas and enjoy all your fruitcake. From all of us at Barb's Kitchen, best of the season to you.